You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright, the kind you wanna stay up with all night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole. They won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that don't let you lose your soul.
Hey everyone, it is Thanksgiving week, and we want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of you guys. Hopefully you're having a good time with family and friends this week. But we're with you this week, and we're going to hang out with you for a little while if you want to hang out with us, and we hope you do. And, what's great about podcasts, I was thinking about this. One of the reasons I love podcasts is the other day I was listening to a podcast, and I was able to get a bunch of work done in the yard while listening to the podcast, and the work went by so quick. Mm-hmm. You know, I had to clean the pool, I had to rearrange the garage, I had to spray down the patio, like I had to do a bunch of stuff. And it's just nice. It's nice to have something like that to kind of keep you occupied, you know?
You know, it helps me because I have this tendency to go too fast when I'm traveling. And sometimes I get into a podcast or something similar to that, and I slow down, and I really don't want to get home too quickly.
Yeah.
So I want to hear the end of this.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I have circled the block 3 times before because once I park in my driveway, the girls come running out. It's all over. So I've circled the block. It's like this is only 5 minutes to go. You know?
Wow.
I got into Dateline on a trip we took to Texas. We decided to do a road trip. That's a whole another story. But I got into Dateline episodes, and they were so interesting. And you just don't want to get out of your car in the middle of one of those.
Yeah.
So, well, it's Thanksgiving, and it's the 3 F's, food, family, and football. So let me start out by asking you guys, where are you going for Thanksgiving?
Staying in town, as you know. I think you guys are coming over.
Wednesday night.
And then Thursday I'm just going to my in-laws, hanging out there. So,
Nikki?
Yeah, we're hosting at my house. So,
nice.
But I've got it worked out where all the guys do a lot of the big cooking, like the turkeys and the hams.
Yeah.
So I'm just in charge of some
Is
sides.
this the first year that you've hosted?
Oh, I host every year.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
good job.
we have a good system in place.
Who all comes?
You know what? Thanksgiving for us is a free-for-all. We got a couple families from church. I've got all of our families. I mean, to me, Thanksgiving's more about, like, if you don't have a place to go, come over as long as you bring a good side.
I'm going to address that later.
You know?
Yeah, I'm going to address. Vince, where are you going?
Yeah, hosting too. We're hosting at our house. My mom's coming in from Arizona, and my grandpa comes down.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yep.
Okay, another question. What do you look most forward to on Thanksgiving? Come on, I know there's food, family, football. Yeah. Be brave enough to say, probably my favorite moment is this.
I honestly like cooking. It's funny. It's the one time of year where it's like, oh, I'm going to go all out on this recipe and like be really proud of it. And so I do like the cooking aspect.
So you're cooking? Nikki's men are cooking?
Yeah, I'm not cooking.
Josh, are you cooking?
Well, for you guys, yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Did Mom say we're coming? For sure?
I hope so. I hope you guys are coming. Yeah. If not,
you're cooking,
that's
huh?
okay.
No, you know what?
Yeah.
Hannah makes amazing sides, and Hannah's like the best at desserts. And so, I'm like, babe, if you can do desserts, like I got the meat. Like I can do the meat part.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying I'm cooking, I'm not making bread.
Yeah,
I'm not doing desserts. I'm like in charge of turkey and then meat.
Yeah.
Like other
Cooking.
meats.
Now, I will say, you're doing the cooking of the meat, but Hannah does make some mean desserts, man, I'll tell you.
She does.
But you got to learn the system. One time, years ago, I went fishing, and I was tired of not catching anything, so I went by the store and bought some fish on the way home. And Debbie thought I caught them.
Yeah. Are you saying go buy a turkey if you can't figure it out?
I'm saying you could buy them already cooked, man.
Yeah, there you go.
It's true.
Well, there's a barbecue place, and it's also a butcher as well, right in downtown, and it's a cool place. I love going there. And they had a Thanksgiving meal for 8 people for it was a good deal. I was like, Ash, we could just do this, and we'll have leftovers. It'll be for my family, whatever. We can take some stuff to your family. And she's like, I like to cook. I want to cook. And I was like, oh, yeah, right. Spend time together. Let's do that. Yeah.
And Ashley's good because I told Mom, I said, we usually host every year. And this is a new year for us because our children and grown grandchildren in Thousand Oaks, they're going to stay there this year and do it on a Wednesday night, which I do not want to travel the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Now, they invited us, but I said, I don't want to travel on that day. And so we didn't know what we were going to do. This is a new chapter for us. And little Jack, my great-grandson, just turned 2. He doesn't travel real well. And it'll be a nightmare traveling on the day before Thanksgiving. Yeah. And so Josh and Ashley were kind enough to invite us. And Ashley does really do a good job in the kitchen. And so I'm kind of looking forward to it. And, I did hear Josh is cooking, so I'm rethinking it a little bit. But no, she does an excellent job. And she's an excellent host.
Yeah, she's going to get most of it.
Family. Your mother, I hear it all the time. She goes around quoting Romy. That's my 5-year-old granddaughter. People would think Romy was an old person who had all this wisdom. And she goes around quoting her all the time. I said, Debbie, she's just 5. But again, she reminded me of this story. It was just about a year ago. She's probably 4. And Debbie was telling Romy, I don't ever want you guys to leave. Why? And Debbie says, I get so lonely when you're not here. And I remember it. She walked in and pointed at me and said, at least you have him. At least you have him.
That's funny.
And so.
She's very logical.
The kid, your mother just thinks she's one of the most wise people in the world.
She's going to slowly dominate our whole family. It's just a matter of time.
Now, we love the 8-year-old equally. She's just a sweetheart. But Romy, she has a tendency to try to start running the show at that young age. But she's the baby, too. What are you most thankful for? Or that's a tough question. What are some of the things you're thankful for this year at Thanksgiving?
I mean, the obvious comes into your mind, right? Your family, your friends, the people in your life. But I'm also thankful that God hasn't given up on me, and he's had reason to, and the fact that he hasn't, and he's allowed me to be a part of what he's doing, that's a big deal. And that is my home. That's my friends. That's my community. It's my church. That's everything. It's really cool to see what God can do. When you kind of stop believing that he can do it, and then he turns around and he says, I'm going to show you something new, something fresh,
I can relate to that so much. I don't know how many times I've told God in the last 15 days, I don't know why you didn't give up on me when you had the chance. Why did you keep giving me chances? That word long-suffering takes on a whole new definition, and being patient. But Nikki, what are some of the things? I mean, does anybody still do this? I know some people told me years ago that on Thanksgiving they would go around the room and have people say what they're thankful for. I don't know if anybody still does that, but regardless, give us something you're thankful for.
We do that with our kids a lot, but they always think of video games or their cat or something. Mom and dad would get mentioned in there every now and then, but I feel like for us, trying to put it in perspective, my niece has had a lot of seizures this year. We've had grandparents in and out of hospitals, but everybody's still with us, by the grace of God. I don't know. I feel like when you look at that, even it's been a hard year for our family, you just see the fingerprints of God, everywhere, what things could have gone differently. And I feel like that just puts everything in a fresh perspective when you see everybody sitting around the table and you're like, man, this could have been different.
This year, no one has, I have cancer. Nobody else does. Vince, just give us one thing you're thankful for.
Yeah, community. I love the church community that we have. And just even this past Saturday, I think we mentioned in the last podcast, just people showing up for one another. I think it's not a usual thing when people show up and show out for each other. And it's so cool to watch a group, thousands of people, have each other's back all at once. And that you just can't put a price tag on it. You can't buy that.
That's good.
So yeah, it's awesome.
Well, you know what? I'm thankful for a lot of things, but with all the cancers I've fought in my life, I'm just glad I'm alive, and especially glad I'm alive today because we just got in from Vegas this morning, and every time my wife drives, I rededicate my life. I did it again today. Now she's going to hear that and not like that probably, but she's not a good driver, but she says she's better than me. So I was in the gym the other day, and I probably already said this in the podcast, and there was a bunch of guys around me, and they were saying, I work out, man, because I'm going to be in a contest next month, and I got to get this body honed in. In other words, I'm working out because I'm going on vacation. I want to look good in a bathing suit. And I looked at him, and I said, I work out to stay alive out of the obituaries. That's why I'm working out. Whole different ball game. But, okay, what's your favorite food? Do you have a favorite food?
The first thing that pops in my head is pumpkin pie. I mean, that's just the first thing. 'cause
You love pumpkin pie.
I
do
do,
too.
man.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I could eat that stuff out.
Do you
straight
put whipped cream on
straight
it?
out of the can?
Do you put you put whipped cream all over it?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
I'm gonna say mashed potatoes because it's not
Yeah.
something you eat every day, and I'm just like
Yeah.
every time I see the mashed potatoes, I'm in.
Gravy or no gravy?
Oh, for sure, gravy. Yeah, you
Nicole
gotta
makes
have
some good
gravy.
mashed potatoes. She brought them to the
Yeah, I know.
I
I
told
love
you my
them.
secret though.
The staff
I buy
party. You
them
did tell me the
pre-made
secret.
and then
I won't-
doctor them all up.
I won't air it out, but
there it is.
Wait a
it's a pretty good
There
secret.
it is. Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, you bought those?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Well,
they were so
they're real
good.
mashed potatoes, but then you just put all the good stuff back
Ooh,
in it.
I'm getting hungry right
It's
now.
Great.
I know.
I was born in the Midwest, so for us, it was all about the casserole. So I feel like anytime somebody brings like a corn casserole or a green bean
casseroles
casserole,
is
like
good, yeah.
it brings back those like
That was
happy
really good.
feelings.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm with Josh. Pumpkin pie has to be there, but I love it all. See, I'm on these health diets and I eat all this stuff that tastes like cardboard all the time. When I get a reason to taste real food, we were in Vegas yesterday and we could not find anywhere to eat. I mean, we just couldn't. It was halfway healthy. We went to places and they were jam-packed on Sunday afternoon. So we were forced to go to In-N-Out Burger. I had 3 hamburgers and a fry. And I couldn't stop eating because this is real food. Well, for Thanksgiving, I have a dream. In fact, Wednesday morning, I'm going quail hunting. And I want to bring back some quail to cook for Thanksgiving. Now,
I like your dream.
I'm going to go up Wednesday morning. I'm going to be
like
up there
your dream.
early. I'm going to be ready for them to come out and hopefully bring back some quail. Now, this, like I say, is a new chapter for us. Josh and Ashley have been gracious to invite us and over to their house. And then our kids in Thousand Oaks, of course, invited us. I already said why we're not going there. But we'll go there Wednesday night. So Thursday, we're going to a little place we have in the mountains. And I'm going to watch football. And there are some decent games on this year, not like the previous years. So
You're in trouble with your quail hunting though, because you can't stop at the store and buy a quail if you're unsuccessful.
well, I'm gonna have a hard, but I could pass off some of those little Cornish game hens, and I'll tell Debbie that they're mountain quail.
There you go. If they don't have BBs in them, they're not. It's not legit.
You're gonna shoot them with shotguns.
But going back to Las Vegas, yeah, I'll put them out there and shoot them and get a little buckshot in
Little
it.
buckshot.
But I'm going to do a plug for a restaurant. We went all over Vegas to the healthy places we knew. And, of course, our hotel's placed right next to a Cracker Barrel. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And then we haven't eaten there for ages. But we went and ate somewhere, and I told Debbie, why don't we eat here more? It's not super healthy, but Panera, is it Panera bread?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
It can be, yes.
So good.
Depends on how fresh the bread is.
Oh, yeah, that bread is
place.
good. So anyway, let me be a little bit serious about the holidays, if I can, for just a moment. I have a burden for hurting people because that's the business I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor John Tweed and I had a conversation this week, and I probably got my nose in where it doesn't belong, but I kind of feel because I was a pioneer of this elder group. I don't know, what do we call it? It's elder
55
people.
plus, yeah.
55 plus. I said, you know what? What are we doing for those older people whose maybe their spouses have died? They don't have anybody for Thanksgiving. And there are quite a few of them, I think. And I said, what do we have planned for them, John? So John said, let me go to the thinking barn here and start thinking. See, we had a neighbor in Tehachapi. He just died last year or the year before. And he lived to be 102. And he told me he had outlived all of his family, or at least his kids. And there are people that are in those situations. Now, one of the options John and I came up with, and I'm going to address it, is why don't we get a bunch of people in our church to invite these older people to their house if they don't have anywhere to go? Now, can I be bold enough to address an elephant in the room? See, some families like us, we don't get to see our extended family that much because we're all in ministry. And especially our grown grandkids and now my new great-grandchild, we don't get to see them very much. And so when we do see them, wow, we've got to catch up for lost time. Now, here's my fear, that if some people that are in our situation invite people into their homes who have no one that has invited them, they don't have family members or anybody close to them, could we maybe, this is my fear, end up not talking to them as much as we should, because you have all these family members you haven't seen, and you want to go and play with the kids, and end up creating a problem bigger than the one we're trying to solve. Because they'll say, man, they just didn't hardly talk to me. Now, I came up with solutions. But first of all, let me talk about that problem for a second. You have family members, you don't see them much, and you want to play with the kids. And here sit these people you've invited, and you don't get to talk to them as much as probably you should. Could it end up being a scenario?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's happened, I mean, it's probably always been a thing, but, the term Friendsgiving, right? It's like a time where it's not, it's not your immediate family, but you bring people into your house the week before or the week after, and you have these big Friendsgiving meals, and it's just all your friends. It's all the people that you do life with or in life in passing. I love that you mentioned the 55 plus group, because the week before, and you know this about the 55 plus group, they had a big potluck.
I was here.
And they loved to, I think you told me you were here, and they love to cook and they love to hang out. And I was just like, what a cool thing for these, because like you said, a lot of them don't have family members, and that ends up being their Thanksgiving meal with these people.
Okay, I loved it, but I look back to my wife. I love it, love it, love it. But we should have done it the day before Thanksgiving.
Timing,
I wrote down here a solution I told John that we might look into. Create a day as close to Thanksgiving as you can get, and invite these lonely, left alone people, and you can devote all your time to them. You're not trying to share it with the grandkids, grandkids, or whatever. And let them know we care, because we really do care.
Right.
And again, it might be different for you guys, because some of you are having in your home that day immediate family that you're with all the time. We're having family, or we used to have family. It's a different chapter now. But family members that we don't see a lot. So it might be different for you.
Well, it was cool 2 years ago. We did this thing called Friendsgiving at the church, and it was the day before Thanksgiving. And I thought it was a cool event because it was for everybody. It was for if you have a place to go, if you don't have a place to go, if you don't have family, it's just a place to come together and have a meal. And it was really, really cool. And so I think that's what you're saying. It was a time so no one felt isolated either. Like I don't want to be like the one person that feels like they're reaching out in need. It was just like, hey, you may need a meal. No one needs to know you do. You may not need. You may need friends. You may not. Everybody can come together. It's one big melting pot.
Yep.
And obviously, when you feed that many people and it's Thanksgiving, those take a lot of resources. But that was the heartbeat behind that event, was to bring people together that didn't have a place to go, or didn't have the means to provide. And so I love what you're saying, because I do think there's a need. I think there's a lot of. We were just talking about a friend, Tyler and I, who's behind the camera. We're like, hey, did you invite this person over for Thanksgiving? Because we want to make sure they have a place to go. And Tyler's like, I'm already on. I already invited them. And so I think the community starts to look out for itself, right? It starts correcting itself. But I do think people slip through the cracks, especially when you have such a big community to look after,
It's also, we have these ideals in mind of what holidays should look like based on movies or something we've seen. Yeah. And it's like, oh, it should look like that. Like there should be this nice table setting, and of course, ours always ended up looking like Griswold family get-togethers, but we have these ideals, and then so what happens is you feel like if that's not what's happening for you on Thanksgiving, you feel really like left out of what the rest of the world's doing. But the truth is, people are in different places all over the world, and there are a lot of people that are just hanging out and watching football and doing whatever, That sounds nice to just chill out, to be honest. But that's what I love about Thanksgiving. You asked the question, what do you love about Thanksgiving? And I love just being able to relax and not have to worry about, the next day. So I think it's a good day to just like be thankful for everything you have. You don't have to work for what you have that day. Usually, that's not true. Medical.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
working.
your
My
husband's working. My
Thanksgiving,
wife
but that's okay.
is not this year, but she has before. And some people are working. So, but if you have the day off and you're able to, relax a little bit, spend that time, and even if you're busy cooking or hosting, that's a little harder to relax, right? Try to take your time to do that because at least mentally, I mean, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If any of you know anyone in these categories, and in a second, I want to say something about also divorced people that are not able to see their kids for some reason or whatever.
really
That's
hard.
tough.
Grieving people at the holiday season, I'm talking about Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I can't even fathom. If you've lost a child at Christmas, I mean, I can't even fathom. So what I'm going to say is when these people come to your mind, maybe you can't invite them to dinner or whatever, but a text on that day or the day before thinking about you, maybe a drop by, say, hey, my wife made this wonderful pie and I want to drop it off to you. Maybe a phone call. Because 2 weeks ago in this podcast, we talked about how little things can make big impacts.
Yeah.
And so if we could just do that maybe. So let's talk just a second about the prisoners. Okay, now I'm behind time. I don't watch many movies. Last night we were in our hotel room and we had some time to kill. And I saw a movie. I hope I pronounced this right. I didn't even know what the name of it was until I got halfway through it. Shawshank Redemption.
So good.
Oh yeah.
I watched that movie. I really thought this is a good movie.
It's a really good movie.
And of course, if some of you don't know, the idea of that movie is a guy gets arrested wrongly for killing his wife and her lover, and he gets 2 life terms, and he was innocent. And so after the movie was over, I told Debbie, I said, you know that happens today. There is no way our court system is foolproof. People get convicted of crimes they didn't commit. Put yourself in their shoes at the holiday season, especially those who are innocent. Now, see, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, and I'm always afraid I'm going to be, but I don't want us to live in a bubble neither, because we're in the hurting people business. The least I can do is pray for these people at this time of the year. And again, divorced people, grieving people, this is a tough season for them.
Yeah.
And so I think before I get wrapped up in get wrapped up in my festivities and celebration, I need to stop, go through my phone list. Is there anybody I need to text, encourage? Debbie, is there anybody that we need to maybe go get a pie for at Marie Callender's and drop it off to them? Again, if we could see the impact of small decisions that we talked about in our podcast 2 weeks ago, we would do a lot more of these little things. So let's not live in a bubble this time of the year. Let's enjoy our festivity, and let's don't be depressed or discouraged, but let's at least take a time to look through our phone. Who do I need to send a message to? And say, I'm going to take 20 minutes of my time, 15, and pray for some of these people in prison, on and on. I think that would be cool and acceptable to God.
And it means so much. Like, you think about people who will just reach out to you when you know it's such a busy day for them and just say, hey, thinking about you, wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for having you in my life. Like, it doesn't have to be like a paragraph, but just the fact that they stopped what they were doing to think of you, it does mean something to me, I know.
For sure.
Well, what we talked about 2 weeks ago, I gave you, testimonies of people who someone did a little thing in their life, and here decades later, they've never forgotten the person who did this kind deed to them. More likely, they don't even remember doing it. Little things make big impacts very often. So I'm going to try to do that this year, and I would invite some people to my house. I won't be with myself, but I'm going to be about 50 miles away or 60 up in the mountains. So anyway, anything else you want to say about Thanksgiving before we turn to our topic? Bring on the food, huh? No time for dieting. I'm on strict diets, but Josh, I think I'm going to do it again this year. I haven't done it for 2 years. I'm going to buy my own pumpkin pie and my own thing of whipped cream. And I'm going to sit down and eat the whole thing at one time.
Hold on. You do this every year.
Well, I've done it up until I think I forgot last year.
Last year.
I forgot last year.
This is a common occurrence.
You like lemon meringue pie too, though, don't you?
Oh, I love lemon meringue pie.
The question is, though,
That's my favorite next to pumpkin.
Yeah.
do you eat an entire Costco one or just a regular,
Is it
I eat-
Sprouts or
I eat
Costco?
Albertsons.
Okay.
I'm craving what
It's just a
Josh
regular
talked about
size
prime
one.
cuts earlier, and I'm craving that prime cuts, whatever package they have put together. You know that's going to be a
So
10.
good. I think
Yeah.
I might make some steak for you, Dad, and I might encourage you to eat it.
I
He doesn't
told-
really eat red meat that
I
much.
told-
Don't eat it all.
I told Romy,
I
I
got
told the
some
girls yesterday,
good stuff.
they were backstage, and I was like, you're excited for Papa Ron to come over? Yeah, I said, make him the most unhealthy thing and tell him that you made it special for him.
I'll have to eat it.
Yeah, you'll have
Yep.
to eat it.
Yeah.
Knowing Romy, she'll stand there and watch you,
Yeah.
and you're going to eat it. But
Calories don't
She puts
count anyway.
food.
on that
She'll
day.
like drop something on the floor and pick
No.
it up and put it in my mouth.
Oh, no. And you let her put it in your mouth?
I don't notice until it's like it's.
And I want to give
brain's
Ollie, my other little granddaughter, 8 years old, well, smaller, younger. I don't know. I don't want to insult him, but
They're so.
she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, they're
That little
kids.
girl is a sweetheart.
Mm.
And so I love both my grandkids, but we're going to go on to our topic. Although I will say one last thing. I think Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because I love turkey. I love mashed potatoes and gravy. I love dressing. And you know what? Let me say one last thing. I think I like leftovers more than the original dinner.
Yeah.
Anybody really like leftovers?
No.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So this year, and then you give me another idea. Maybe I should go down and buy a couple Cornish game hens and let them thaw out a little bit before I go hunting. That way I don't have to come home ashamed.
It's funny.
Okay, topic. Let's talk about the after effects of what I call the Charlie Kirk revolution. The guy's death made a big splash in the pool. I mean, a big impact in our culture and society, both positive and negative. It goes both ways. Now, I can't really remember too many bigger impacts someone's death made on society than this one. Now, there were. Obviously, we have Dr. Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, maybe even Cesar Chavez. And I don't want to go into down that rabbit hole.
Was Cesar Chavez killed?
No, but I just said death.
When
I
he
didn't
died.
say
I
death.
got you. Okay.
Yeah, the other two were killed, but he wasn't. But I don't go down that rabbit hole right now of getting lost and having to name all the names and have someone call in. Well, you didn't mention this person or that person. If that's you, just go somewhere. Go away. I'm not doing there. I'm just
I
saying.
ain't got time for that.
Yeah. Not many is what I'm saying. Is also stirred up a lot of debates on subjects like transgender issues, abortion, politics, anti-Semitism. Now, let's talk about this. Should this stuff be debated? Is it what we're supposed to be doing? I have a lot of questions, a lot of things I want to talk about, but let's just start there and start the conversation.
I think, right off the top of this, I think what makes it so polarizing for people is that he stood in two pools. And what I mean by that is he stood in he was a follower of Jesus, which that I'm super grateful for. And he, like you said, had a huge impact on that realm that he stood up for what he believed was right. But then he also had a foot in the political party. And so he kind of divided himself between those two things. And so as a Christian man and somebody that was following after God, it's like, wow, like, what a role model for people, all around the world. But on the other hand, on the political side, it's hard because, some of the things that he would say biblically may have not lined up with political, and not everybody sees it the same way. Again, we talked about this in another podcast. The way that you were brought up, the way that you live out your life may not be the way that he saw life. And so you have that division right off the bat where it's like, yes, I believe in Jesus and I see Jesus eye to eye with you, but I don't see the political views eye to eye. And not some of the things that are so right, like obviously abortion and the other issues, but maybe some other issues that you didn't agree on. And I think that's what makes it tough. And that's why I think Christians are divided on the subject. And then that's why I think a lot of people are just kind of polarized in general on it.
I don't know how much of Charlie Kirk you guys watched. I think it's safe to say I've seen probably 80, 90 of his clips. And the other day I was watching an old clip and someone asked him to give his testimony of how he became a Christian. He said, I would love to do it. But there were some things that he said that I didn't agree with. But I don't think, and maybe this is a wrong statement to make, but I don't think in his life he could have made a bigger impact than what he did through his death. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is huge. Culture right now in society, society is, they're going through a change, and I attribute a lot of it to him. And I've never quite seen anything like this in
he was
in
one of the first,
the religious circle.
He was one of the first, and you know, there's some things that he said that I didn't agree with as well. But he was one of the first political commentators to really add his faith into everything he did. And now it's pretty common that people talk about faith. Sean Ryan, he talks about his faith. Tucker Carlson talks about his faith all the time. I actually really like Tucker Carlson. He's an interesting guy. But there's a lot of people that are much more bold about their faith now, and I think that when that happened, that brought that out. Now there's another group of people that just really kind of went the opposite direction. So if you even mention the word Charlie Kirk, it triggers them, and they say they think you're racist and all these other things. And there was this narrative that kind of immediately was pushed, when he passed, and maybe it was being pushed before that, but when he died, it was like there's a panic on this other side where they're just like, we have to stop this right now, and I think that's a shame. I was just thinking about today. I was just thinking about the internet in general, and I was thinking about truth, right? So, this is going to take too long if I go deep into this, but basically, Jesus before Pilate, he says, he talks about the truth, and Pilate asks him a question: "What is truth?" Right? And the word that Jesus uses is a Greek word, aletheia. And the word means to uncover something. So it's like if you have a pot and you have a stew in that pot, right? And you have all these different ingredients. Like, you're not going to really know what it is if the lid is on. But aletheia, the truth, is when you uncover that lid, you see all the ingredients, you smell it, you can taste it, you can see what it is. Well, truth, I was thinking about it, like, truth doesn't necessarily always require a response. Sometimes it's just truth. Right? Like, it's just truth. And the devil hates truth.
Right.
And he will do anything he can to keep us from hearing the truth. And I was thinking about the internet, and I was thinking when whoever invented the internet, whoever it was, I think it was our military or something, whoever invented the internet, or maybe not even inventing it, but when it became popular and people started to understand what it could be used for, right? Take people like Steve Jobs, where he was like, I see the potential of this internet thing. So he brings the phone in, then all these social media companies start to rise up. And so we start to have all this hope that people are going to learn more about the truth, right? Like, that's what it was. It was like, oh, everything will be uncovered.
Exposed.
Everything will be exposed.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be great. But the problem is that the people that want power are the ones that step up and they charge hard to get that power. And so the world at large wants to force us into conformity, where the Bible speaks specifically against that. It's by the Romans 12, 1 and 2. Yep. Do not be conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? So the world has used the internet, used social media, all this stuff to bring in conformity. They don't want the truth. They want you to agree with them.
Is that why they're angry now?
Yes.
They're getting angrier by the moment.
That's exactly it. So I was listening to this podcast this morning with Tucker Carlson and Sean Ryan. And Tucker Carlson said this. He said, they call you what they want you to be. I was like, that's such a good quote. They call you what they want you to be. And so with Charlie, bringing it back into the Charlie Kirk discussion, with Charlie Kirk, it was like, okay, now you better show what side you're on. What side are you on? This side or that side? This side or that side? And I'm like, I'm on Jesus' side, man.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and when Charlie Kirk was speaking and it lined up with Jesus, I was like, heck yeah, dude. Like,
Right.
that's great.
That's good.
That's wonderful.
That's truth.
And when
Yeah.
somebody else says something and lines up with what Jesus says, I'm like, yes, 100%. If you want to
Yeah.
pick a side, I'm not going to pick your political side. I'm going to pick your side that is with Jesus.
Right.
And the truth is, I lean more to the right a little bit, but I'm more center, but I lean more to the right, definitely. But I mean, it's like, it's hard because I'm not putting my faith in one political party or one president, right? I'm not putting my faith in one system. I'm putting my faith in Jesus Christ, and I'm putting my faith in the kingdom that he's building. When he came to this earth, he said, my kingdom. Anyway, I'm getting off, but you know what I'm saying?
You
Like,
thought
yeah.
you would,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
That's a deep subject.
it is
Yeah.
a very deep
You
subject.
were just talking about the stew or whatever. You take the lid off, and when you do, and I smell that stew, it attracts me to it.
Right.
And the Bible says the truth sets you free. We do some in-depth Bible studies here on Wednesday morning. We watched them start out with 10 people. Now it's about 150 or 130 or whatever, and it continues to grow because the truth attracts you, and it sets you free if you're really, what's the word I want to use? If you're truthful, if you're
seeking
honest
the
and you're
actual
honestly
truth, honest,
seeking,
Yeah.
it
Honest is
draws
the word.
you,
Yeah.
but it also repels people who, want you to be like them. And as you said, they want you to think like
Yeah.
them.
You know why it repels them though? It repels them because when you see the truth, it requires you to adapt to it.
It does. And there's a lot of people
That requires
today
change.
that have a philosophy, and they want that philosophy to be good in God's sight, if there even is a God according to them. And they want to be accepted, but they don't want to accept us. And I think when they get challenged with the truth, they get extremely angry.
Yeah.
And could it even be that something down inside of them lets them know that that probably is some validation in what that person's saying?
And you hear people talking about their own truth, right? You hear this all the time, like, "Oh, it's your truth. You stay true to your own truth."
Right.
And that just doesn't work. There is a truth, and then there's us either adapting to it and learning to be like, I want to know the real truth. I want to know exactly what's going on. And Jesus says that he is the way, the
He says
truth,
truth
and
will
life.
set you free.
And the truth will set you free. And that's what I want. I don't need to be my own little world and my own little island over here. Like, I want more unity with people. I want more, love. I want more, acceptance and all those things. And to me, that comes when we all can agree on the truth, and that's hard. I get it. It's hard, because people come from different places, but I would encourage you to just look at the Bible is my source of truth. And I can say my truth.
I think
right?
that's what's tough for
But,
people, though.
you know what I mean?
In the sense of, and obviously what you're saying about the truth is right on. But I think when about talking about the split of like being your feet are in both worlds, right? You're like, I'm political, but I'm also for Jesus. It's like if you're for Jesus, there's no agenda.
Yeah.
But when you get political, there starts becoming an agenda, and I
Right.
think people are like, ugh, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they don't want to have to they're all about Jesus, but they don't want to be part of your agenda.
If you get a chance to go back and listen to Charlie Kirk's memorial service, Tucker Carlson spoke, and he did an amazing job. He basically said, all this political stuff this is a joke to God, basically. I mean, that's kind of what he
Right,
was getting
right.
at. He's like, this is what we do, but the kingdom of heaven is so much bigger and so much
Right.
more important. And I was like, dude, good job, man. Like,
Right.
way to go. Way to,
Yeah.
to say that. And then Charlie Kirk's wife got up and basically showed us what it looks like to love your enemies, and then Trump got up, and that was a different story.
Yeah, whole different thing. And again, we like to keep the political and the moral separated, but a lot of moral issues cross over into the political issues. They become one. But again, what kind of responsibility do we have? We have the truth. Again, I've said this before in a podcast, but I'll reference it again. There's a couple few verses, 2 or 3 back in Ezekiel, that says if you see someone sinning and don't warn them, their blood will be on your hands. So now that we have the truth, we have a tremendous responsibility with that truth. And we don't go out flaunting it, but when the doors are open, don't you agree? We have to state what we stand for and not be bashful. And I think the death of Charlie Kirk kind of reminded us all to be a little bolder in our faith.
I literally read that verse this morning, Pastor. I was reading that in Ezekiel and I thought, oh man, like how often am I so worried about hurting somebody that I don't even stand up in love? And like, I think there is a way, like there will be people matters that get political that we're supposed to stand up for people because that's what God has called us to do, is to love his people. And I think that's the hard part, is we have to stand up because there's this order of things. Like we love the Lord our God with all of our heart, soul, and mind, and then we love people. And it's number one and number two. We're not supposed to exchange those, right? And love people before we love God. We have to love God, but out of our love for God, there's this love for people. But that means sometimes standing up for things that go against the scriptures.
Well, you know what?
In love,
again,
right?
Nikki, going back to
Like-
that former thought. When I was young and I wasn't serving God at all, someone one time told me, so you need to get your life right with God, son. You really need to get it right with God. And I felt like flipping them off. That's where I was at. That was my state of mind, saying, mind your own business. But you know, little things can become big things sometimes. And I'm glad that person said that because it stuck in my mind. You need to get right with God, son. You really do. And so again, I know it's hard for us sometimes, and I'm not so sure that many of us don't go through a time in our life when we're a little bit bashful with the truth. And you can disguise it with justification of some sort, you know. I'm going to let them have their own life, whatever. But that verse in Ezekiel, and a lot of people have tried to even take that verse and say, well, that's Old Testament. But Paul, on a couple occasions, he referred back to that moral truth. But before we go there, because I do have some more issues I want to discuss there, but let's go back to this thing that's going on right now, the boldness of conviction that we've seen since Charlie Kirk's assassination. We see all these people hitting the streets. We see a lot of young men, bless their hearts, trying to rise up and be Charlie Kirk. And I just want to shout out to them, you don't have to be Charlie Kirk. Be yourself and take the truth out in your own way. But we see people hitting the streets, and we see more debates going on at college campuses.
Debating is such a dangerous thing, too. I mean, it's
Well,
like,
it's dangerous
Yeah.
if it's not in the right hands.
if you don't.
I mean, my wife keeps saying, I think Charlie Kirk was just a rare creature. And he was made for that almost. I never seen a guy with a quicker mind, always on his toes.
Yeah, he's good at it.
But Turning Point is also recruiting younger people to do what Charlie did. But I'm going to ask Vince this question in a second. But we see something going on. Football, NFL. If you watch the games, you see them very often. If you don't see them zoom in on it, you see in the background, NFL and college football, a bunch of athletes kneeling down, praying. You know, that old thing of kneeling in rebellion, that's gone now. But you see so many kneeling and praying. You hear all these post-game interviews with college football guys and even baseball guys sometimes, UFC, and they're giving glory to the Lord. You never saw that before. I'm going to ask Vince a question, though. I'm seeing it in football, baseball, but I'm not seeing it in basketball. I don't remember the last time I've seen a basketball guy get up. So I've come to the conclusion, basketball is demonic.
Oh,
It's
man,
not from
come on.
God, and we don't need to be basketball
That's
fans
funny.
because they're not giving glory to God. And I don't see any of them kneeling or praying. I'm just going to mess with Vince for a second because he's a huge basketball
I
fan.
like, man, the Lakers are doing good this year. So
But let's Lakers, yeah. You know what?
we got Luka and we got AR-15.
Yeah.
All right, before we get off topic
sorry.
here, I'm going to say that one thing that I am concerned with right now in the church is I feel like a lot of people are leaving the church because they are finding some type of leadership online, right? Like they're finding influencers or even pastors online and stuff. And they have, I mean, you could listen to sermons all day long, right? And you can get fed as much as you can in that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's, we're online at our church and It's okay to listen to sermons and all that stuff. But what is missing right now is people are getting saved, seeds are being planted, but there's not enough discipleship, true discipleship.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to step up. I mean, if you are posting online every day, that's fine. That's great. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But we're called to disciple people on a regular basis, and that doesn't mean a lot of people, right? Like if you're out there and you're saying, "Hey, I really want to do something for God," and I'm posting online, or I'm trying to volunteer at my church, but as you get to a point where you're mature enough, and I don't know what that point is where you should start really discipling people, but I think if you feel like God is calling you to the next level, that is the next level to go to, right? If you just got saved yesterday, maybe you shouldn't be discipling other people, right? But if you've been saved for years, some of you guys have been saved 10, 20, 30 years, and you don't have people that you're pouring into. And it might be just 2 or 3 people. It might be one person. That's where God moves, I think, the most. I mean, that's what Jesus did. That's exactly what Jesus did. You want to talk about what Jesus did? Jesus, he had 12 people that he chose, 12 young guys, and he poured into them for 3 straight years. And then, 11 out of 12 did good, but it was really effective. Obviously, that's how the church started. That's how everything happened. And so I think that there's a balance between that. And then, of course, like talking to people, when you get a chance to talk about them. I see you do that all the time, Dad, at the restaurants or wherever we're at in public. You'll talk to people about Jesus and plant that seed, and that's great. But the seed has to be toiled, and it has to be, or not toiled, the seed has to be watered, and it has to be fed, and in order for it to grow,
And that really only takes place through really personal relationships.
Yeah.
It's all through community with people.
It is.
Yeah, I see that problem too. We're not discipling enough in the church. I was just talking to Vince and Josh before the podcast. Very often the church is centering around preacher, people in the pew. Preacher, people in the pew. You don't grow that way. Somehow the church has to make a change. We've got to have a lot of dialogue, a lot of praying with one another, and just reserve Sundays for pastor who's anointed to share with the people. Everything else has to really start going back to community and involvement and ownership and fellowship and all those kinds of things. So I want to go some different areas. I want to go on some different principles here, some different ideas I want to promote. I want to go back to that idea. It's stuck in my mind where very often moral issues cross with political things. Now, I've watched a lot of Charlie Kirk video clips, and, he did talk a lot about things like abortion. Now, abortion is not just a political issue. It's a very moral issue. I watched an interview on the internet this morning of a guy interviewing an abortion doctor. I don't know anything about who she was or whatever. I came in late on the debate. And he asked her a question. He said, what do you do when you abort a baby in the 6th, 7th, or 8th month and it's still alive? And she said, oh, no, we don't do that. They're always dead. We just don't. We make sure. He said, but you're not 100% perfect. I know for a fact that sometimes they are born alive. She says, well, we give them something called comfort care. And he said, well, what is comfort care? Can you explain that for us? Well, yeah, we make them comfortable. And he said, and you let them die. You let them lay on the counter and die, right? Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. But I just want to state for our audience that a baby, of course, at about 5 or 6 weeks has a heartbeat about 22 days after conception. Life begins at conception. We know that. But the heart development stages begin a lot earlier than that even. But they're establishing a regular heart rate rhythm at about 6 weeks or 5 or 6 weeks or whatever. And at that stage of pregnancy, they start developing arms and legs and ears and nose and fingers. And then again, and I think what is so important that Charlie Kirk kept saying is they have their own unique DNA. from the moment of conception.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do women say, it's my body and I can do with it whatever I want? I agree, it's your body. Do with your body whatever you want. But that little baby in your womb is not your body. It has a different, unique DNA already, and its heartbeat and whatever. And so another thing that I thought of the other day, there's kind of a blasphemous side of this too, because Jesus said, I shall die that they might live. And people who are aborting babies very often say, I want to live, so they have to die.
Mm-hmm.
Totally opposite. And so I bring that up to say this. We have to stand strong on these quote unquote political moral issues. I don't debate politics a lot, but when the moral issues flow over into the political arena, then I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say more in a second, but answer me this question. If people don't hear about the morality of some of these issues at church, where are they going to hear about them at? I'm not saying we should preach on it from the pulpit, but let's take transgender issues. Is it fair to say that that is probably unbiblical, what they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
And here's my question. Are our youth pastors being trained and encouraged to talk about some of this stuff in the youth classes? Because it's going to come up in these teenagers' lives. And how do we put that in proper context?
Well, it's obviously
where it's shared in love.
It's obviously wrong for adults to push this on children. I mean, that's
Right.
in my opinion, that's wrong. That's where I will draw the line and say, come on. If you're an adult and you want to, I'm very libertarian when it comes to adults, what they want to do. I'm not a libertarian, but if an adult wants to change their sex and do their things, whatever you want to do, man, like God gives you choice. You know, that's one thing that God does is he gives you choice and he respects people's choices, or I don't know if he respects them, but he allows us to make our own choices. And then there's consequences to those choices. So, but I don't, I'm never going to, that's what I love about our country. It's a free country. I'm never going to tell somebody else that they need to live their life a specific way if they're an adult, but pushing on children is not good.
Well, Josh, you've heard me say before, they have their rights to live their life however they want. God's given them 75 years on the earth or whatever. They can live it however they want. And I really respect their right to live the way they want to live. But when their rights start interfering with my rights, now we have a problem.
Well, and that's the issue, right? It never stops there. It never stops with personal freedom. It stops with they want conformity and change, right? And so one of the things that I do appreciate, going back to the abortion issue, one of the things that I appreciate that you guys do, Nicole, in the women's ministry, and you've done this over and over and over, is you take care of single mothers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I think that and a lot of people don't even know that. So there might be somebody listening to this right now who's being pressured to do this, and they don't have anybody else in their life. They don't know how they're going to take care of this child.
Right.
They don't know how they're going to have the finances or anything. They can come to the church and we will help. Right?
Absolutely.
That's
We
what the
will
body
help.
of Christ is about. Yeah.
And so I think that's important that people know that we're here to support you guys if you're in a bad spot, because that's people that get abortions aren't just, I mean, we think of people just out living willy-nilly and, having free sex and just, I'm going to have as many abortions as I want.
Right.
You do hear people say stuff like that, but the majority of abortions are these poor young women who
They're scared.
are scared to death. They are torn in two. They don't know what to do. They're not in a good situation. They don't have any support. They feel like they don't have any support. And so I think when the churches, and if you're a church leader out there, I hope your church does the same thing. When the church leaders step up and they say, "Hey, we'll help you with this. We'll bring you in. We're not going to call you a sinner. We're not going to we're not going to look down on you. We're going to help you out." I think that's how you fight abortion.
Well, I think with a lot of concepts, we have to say, here's the problem, and we're going to help with a solution.
Right.
We also sponsor Crisis Pregnancy Center, and talk about what Nicole and the women of this church do, and I think they've now adopted it in Vegas too. They have baby showers for these women and give them all the stuff they need. And we let them know we're here. We'll stand by you. We bought something for Crisis Pregnancy Center a few years ago. What was it? It was something for their truck that they go
There's an
around in.
ultrasound machine.
Yeah,
There's an
That's right,
ultrasound
ultrasound
machine,
machine, yeah.
yes. So you're going to say something, Nikki. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I was going to say it's more than just even a baby shower. We have like a community group for them. So it's like a 12-week community group where they can actually again, it's all in community. It's all in relationships. So it's not just about giving them a physical need, but I think there's an emotional need. There's a spiritual need. There's so many other needs there that we're trying to meet more than just the physical.
Abortion isn't something that's new. It happened in Jesus's time. In fact, the Roman people, they had the right to take children that were disformed or from poverty, or they just didn't like the kid, and they could put them out in the public, and it was up to the public to whether adopt the kid or the kid died. They would just watch. So people, and especially in that time, Jewish people would probably walk by these babies. Romans would walk by these babies, and if no one took the baby in, they would die in the streets. And so this isn't something that's new. And so I find it interesting. One of the things that Josh and I have been talking about is Jesus will meet us where we're at. Because some of these people have their minds so made up about abortion issues, my body, my choice, all of these things. And I do think that we do have to be bold, but I think it comes back down to relationships that we're willing to. I heard somebody say, man, like if you're willing to speak out about abortion, you should also be willing to sit in the abortion center and talk to moms and hold their hands and tell them, that there is another way. We just had the foster kids out the other day, a foster program out at the church on Sunday, and they had told me there's thousands of kids in Kern County in the foster care system. And so we have to support on the other end, too. Like it's up to the church, it's up to us that are on the end of just, being quick to judge, to take up some responsibility that is there, and meet people where they're at. Obviously, not agree with them. I don't, in no way do I agree with abortion. And man, if we could stop it today, it'd be amazing. But the truth is, people are they're ideologically so spun that they're not going to hear what you're saying by you yelling at them on the street and debating them. It's going to come down to how much you care.
I was thinking about this. Why do we fight? Why do we fight with people online? And it's not to fix them. It's not to get them to change. It's to show the other people that we're fighting against them. Right?
Well, I agree. I agree with what Vince says. We don't want to yell at them, the protesters out in the street. But the same token, when the circumstances present themselves, we have to be bold enough to stand up. Now, listen to me. The church has been shy. I've been watching them for the last decade or two. They've been too bashful and too shy, in my opinion, generally speaking. And the church is right now starting to wake up, because I've watched them walk away when they've had opportunities to share the truth. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We want to be careful. All we want to do is love. Well, yes, love has to be the flag that we fly all the time. And it must be the primary thing we center our life around. But these people, some of them need to be awakened that they're wrong. They're wrong, And again, we want that message of you're wrong to come out in the proper way. But would you guys agree with me? I've watched the church the last few decades, and we've been a little bit too shy sometimes when the opportunity has presented itself. And I think we have to wake up a little more and think about those Ezekiel verses. So, a question. Should we be quiet about our convictions when the topics come up? And then how do we cushion that boldness with love? Because the Bible says to people being discipled, Paul said it. He said, we need to learn to speak the truth in love. So how do we flesh that out? Let's say we're on a plane, we're getting our hair cut, and somebody's, you know what? You're a Christian, right? Yeah. Well, you know what? I believe in abortion, da-da-da. How do we remain in a state of being bold, or how do we start being bold with them with the truth and still stay in the context of love? I mean, obviously we have to do it very carefully, but you don't want to turn into a shouting match.
So I've been thinking a lot about Galatians 5, where Paul talks about walking by the Spirit, and I don't know, like, exactly how to do that all the time. Like and I'm just being honest. And as a pastor, I should know exactly how to do that. But I'm learning more and more every day, and this is a process. I think if somebody can learn to walk by the Spirit, that they will have the confidence and they will have the ability to say exactly what needs to be said in each moment. And Jesus says this, right? The Spirit will tell you what to say as he sends the disciples out. And so I've been trying to, like, deny myself and trying to, like, work on this. And then I go into, moments where I'm just laughing and goofing off with somebody or whatever. I'm not, like, necessarily in spirit, but I've been trying more and more that when I have these conversations with people that I know are going to be tough, to really pray hard and say, Lord, please help me to just listen to what you're saying to me, what you're whispering in my ears. And I think that he will give us the right words to say, because it's not cut and dry. It's not like, I mean, if I go out there and just wave a flag and I'm yelling and screaming the same thing over and over and over, I'm not making a big difference, you know?
And Jesus never did that.
Right. And I saw, and with bringing up Charlie Kirk again, I saw him changing as he got older. He was only 31, 32 years old. I mean, he was a young man. I've changed a lot from 31 to 45. Oh my goodness. But you do, you change and you start to mature and you start to handle those conversations in a better way. Do I think it's God's will for somebody to get an abortion? Absolutely not.
Right.
I of course not. But if somebody is online saying, you know, I can't believe you guys just hate people, like you blah, 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 and, you know, you guys are against, you know, you hate transgender. Like there's a lot, they use hate, the word hate a lot. You hate all these people. No, we don't. We don't hate anybody. Like I want to love everybody. And when I have a personal conversation with somebody, if I were to talk to a transgender person, I'm sure that I would get in, if we were to have an honest conversation, I'm sure we would get into a lot of hurt and pain in their life, you know, a lot of things that are going on that we don't know about. And so I think those deeper conversations are the goal. Like you want to get into a deeper conversation, but the problem is we have all these walls up. And so I would hope that's where the enemy's working. The enemy's working with building walls and keeping us from having real conversations with one another.
Well, again, and I'm talking about boldness right now. Is there ever a time where this subject comes out and we go, you know what? Abortion's murder. And it's plain and simple. And let the person walk away angry. Let them go. I mean, I was thinking again of the account where a young man asked Jesus how to gain eternal life. And this story is found in both Gospels, Matthew and Mark. And the young man was wealthy and followed Jesus' advice to, okay, let me phrase that. The young man was wealthy. And when Jesus said, you need to give all your money away to the poor, this says the young man walked away because he said, I can't do that. Now, there are some Christians I know that are in such a frame of mind, they would have followed the guy down the street, so we can put you on an installment plan, we can do something, we can work something out here. But Jesus said, here's the truth, and he let him walk away. He didn't say any more. He said, that's the truth.
Right.
And so, again, I think I'm still somewhat concerned about maybe teaching our people how to share the truth in love. And so, you know, let me go on to another question.
It wasn't just the truth, though. There was also, it was because he said the cost was too high because his value was so steeped in what he was caught up in. And so I think it goes back to what you guys started with was what the truth. You know, we were talking about the fishes and loaves story the other day, and that story is just a mind blow in general. But you know, when Jesus fed those 5,000 people, when the disciples said, "Hey, we should send them away," they're not, you know. And they said, no, let's break. They didn't separate the people and said, okay, well, let's feed the Christians first. And let's feed these people. And the people that are sinners, go over here and wait. Everyone got fed that day.
Well, there were no Christians.
Well, okay.
There.
But do you see my point? That's my point. I'm making a point.
I know.
Say, like,
I get what
hey,
you're saying.
but I think the reason why there's such a separation is because Christians have acted very selfishly. Like, hey, we're going to, like, hey, if you don't agree with us, then like there's no room for you in this building. I'm not saying all churches are like that. I would hope that VBF, if you've ever come to VBF, you don't ever feel like that because that's not what we harbor. But I think that's the divide. I think that's how people feel. I mean, if I'm going to get myself into the weeds, but when Jesus came to earth, he said, heaven, you know, the kingdom of heaven is now. And he had the ability to talk about all the things. The Romans did terrible things. They were pedophilias. We talked about the abortion issues. They were doing all these crazy things. And Jesus didn't make a list of the things that were wrong with society.
I'll tell you this. If I'm going to get a butt whooping in heaven, okay? Let's say that's how it goes.
Okay, right.
I don't think it's biblical, but let's say that's how it goes.
Okay, let's say how it goes.
I'd rather get one for being too accepting and inviting. And not accepting, but like not accepting lifestyles, but accepting people. Like saying, I would rather have my doors wide open and be inviting to people rather than closing it off. Because God gets very angry when we close His truth off to people. And so if they don't, believe, it's just so easy right now to get caught up in I'm on this side, and if you're not part of what I believe, then I hate you. It's
Right.
so easy to get caught up
Well,
on that
I
side.
think-
And when
Yeah.
people on the when Christians get caught up in that, I think, man, you're missing it, dude. You're missing the love. And yeah, truth and love, absolutely. Like there are who knows what you might have to say to somebody, you know? But if somebody just wants to debate you and they want to argue with you, my normal MO would be like, hey, listen, I'm not going to fight with you right now. Obviously, you have your mind made. Like, I'm not, you do you. I'm not going to change the way I believe because you're mad at me right now. But, that's fine. But if it's somebody that you really feel like you can win over, you do what you can to win over. Yeah. Paul said, I become all things to all people, which means he meets them where they're at.
Meet them where they're at,
is what he meant. And so if you meet people where they're at, and that's harder, by the way, it's harder to do.
It's investment.
You're basically adapting to each conversation. I'm going to try to meet you where you're at right now, and I'm going to try to bring you in. And if you reject it, you reject it,
Well, Josh, let me go back real quickly. So we debate the person of Jesus quite often. I pulled this up the other day, and I thought it was interesting. We have modern Jesus versus biblical Jesus. Modern Jesus preaches only on love. Biblical Jesus preaches God's righteousness. Modern Jesus gives you health and wealth. Biblical Jesus gives salvation, hope, peace, and joy. Modern Jesus never says anything negative. Biblical Jesus warns of sin, judgment, and hell. Modern Jesus is loved and accepted by the world. Biblical Jesus is hated and despised by the world. Modern Jesus serves your will, not God's will. Biblical Jesus exalts God the Father's will. Modern Jesus hates to offend you or others. Biblical Jesus offends the world with the truth.
I love that you brought that up because, and again, going back, and I'm going to stand with my statement about Jesus not making the list for the Romans, because Jesus did address sin and he did address people in their lifestyle, but he did meet them where they were at. And it was very specific. And, when we talk about sin, it's about missing the mark, right? And one of the things that resonates with me, I was thinking about it just this morning, was pull out the plank, or pull the plank out in your own eye before you try to remove the speck in somebody else's.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily a conspiracy theorist. However, people always say, who's behind all this evil in the world? And there must be some group of people that are so organized, that they're able to. It's half the world. They're so organized and they're coming against us. There is a conspiracy, but it's the devil and it's the demons.
Yeah.
And the devil's game, and one of the things that I've seen him do is that they are trying to influence people to change definitions of words.
Yeah.
Okay?
Of what?
Words.
Change definitions of words.
Exactly.
So, and one of those words would be love. So I do believe Jesus leads with love, 100%. I do believe he calls us to lead with love. But what is the definition of love? Right? Does love just mean hugs and kisses and you're going to be fine?
Right.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
When the best way that I can think of love is to think about my kids, right? We all have children. I'm your child, Dad. And, but we all care very much about our kids. But sometimes we have to have hard conversations with our kids. In fact, every day I have a hard conversation with one of my kids. Right. But both of them, I'm constantly saying, no, stop, don't. Do this instead. I'm redirecting them. I'm doing all this stuff. That's what love is. It's hands-on. Yeah. It's like you're in the thick with them. And that's what real love is. Love is not like flowers and candy. Like
going back to that statement I made earlier, speak the truth, but in love. And John MacArthur said something before he died. He said, today sin is called sickness, so people think it requires therapy and not repentance. And I thought, whoa. And then another one, I don't fully agree with this statement, but I agree with it, say 60, 70%. Tolerance is not a Christian virtue. The Bible instructs us to love what is good and hate what is evil. And I do think, and it's a personal conviction, I think the church has been too soft. And I think we've justified it with every means we can. And I think there is a place to be tough in love, but we've got to grow a backbone a little bit and be able to present that toughness in love and not back off and not repent for what we said or apologize. Repent, that's a bad word. Not apologize for what we said. And now I have more church history than you guys, and I've watched a church for years. They're somewhat too bashful sometimes. And so I think there is a place to stand in strength and not be wishy-washy, but yet do it in love and say, hey, we understand. Going back to the abortion issue, abortion is murder and it's wrong. And I want to state another thing. This probably I might have to think this through later, but I think it's true. And this is going to really hurt some people's ears. Teachers who teach small kids that they're born in the wrong body should be arrested for child abuse. Whoa. You say, wait, that hit me between the eyes, but maybe they have a point.
Yeah.
So I just know for the rest of my life, maybe it's because I'm getting older, but I'm not going to back up on truth. I'm going to state it with as much love as I can, but I'm not going to back off. Now, the same token, we just did a Bible study on Wednesday morning that we don't accept Christians to pass judgment on their values. And I said it in my sermon in Vegas yesterday. When we lead people to Christ, you got to give them a lot of space to grow. Don't be all over them with condemnation all the time, but they've come to Christ, and the Lord's going to work it out.
One of my biggest values these days is that I'm very much against anybody who tries to control other people.
I agree.
So
I agree.
And that happens on both sides of the aisle, right? But as Christians, again, we show people the truth, we let them react to it, and it's their choice on whether they want to believe or not. But with kids, like, it's easy to control kids. It's easy to like manipulate them.
Yeah.
It's easy to, and they, a lot of people. So like, if you go back, I would say that there have been, and there still are today, a lot of religious leaders that were very irresponsible with their leadership, and they did control people, right? And so as a response to that, there are people that say, no, you can be you, don't worry about people controlling you, you be. And so these parents that are encouraging their kids to change gender, they've gone a little too far. Or a lot too far.
And they're saying, the way far.
Yeah, and they're saying, you can, kid, a boy shows an interest in a girl's toy. Oh, you want to be a girl? You want to be, and the kid's like, what? Like, that's an option, right?
Yeah.
And so, so it's like they've gone too far in fighting something that was real and that's what we do. We overcompensate. It's like my wife, when we're in the car, okay, she's an overcompensator. If the heat is on and it's a little bit too hot, she cranks the air all the way over, right? And it's like, and then it's freezing. We always laugh about this. I'm like, what are you doing? Just do it a little bit. Just change the dial a little bit. We have temp control. You can do that, right? And if you need to adjust something, that's fine, but don't go all the way to the other side. You don't have to do that. That's where we get off.
One day, my grandson was about 5, and he got in the fence. Papa, come and get me, come and get me. I said, no, you're a boy. You get yourself down off there. I'll watch you. I won't let you hurt yourself too badly. And he went and says, Mama, Nana, Papa's mean. And I realize there's an age thing here, and some of us are, we were raised in that macho generation.
To be fair, where you were raised as a boy to now, it has changed a lot.
It has. I know it has. And we haven't adjusted fully yet.
Well, at your age, I know this is how it goes, right? There's a point where you say, I'm done. I'm not going any further.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if my kids, I have 2 little girls, and if they want to play with a boy toy, I don't care. No big deal. But I'm careful with what they watch on TV. I'm careful with what they are putting in their little minds. And I talk to them. My wife and I both, we talk to them every day about, their lives. What are you thinking? What's going on at school? We're constantly trying to get involved in their lives. I think the biggest issue that we have today with parenting is the devices. I think, like, if you're letting a device
raise your kid,
it's easy, man, because I understand it, because you give it to them and see you later. I'll see you in a couple hours. I can get my stuff done, and parents are busy. We have a lot going on, but and we let our kids watch stuff, but we watch over it. We supervise it, but if kids are learning everything from social media, and they're learning everything from Netflix, and they're learning everything from all these different things, you're losing them. You're losing. You're not parenting. You're losing them.
And again, I want to be fair to myself. Those statements were made when I was quite a bit younger. They were the very macho thing. I think a lot of that macho-ness has wore off a little bit. I'd still say the same thing, maybe in a little different way.
I say it, Pastor, so I'll let you off the hook. I tell my kids, hey, I didn't raise Dr. Quinn medicine woman over here. So it comes from a Talladega Nights thing.
It's just a guy thing.
Sometimes my boys, they say, and I'm like, come on, guys. Like, but I have but I have 2 girls, and my girls, so it's all fun and games, but sometimes I'm like, come on, let's go.
I just exposed some hypocrisy in my life, because I would never think about my girls doing anything wrong. my granddaughters if they were playing with boy toys, but then you reverse it. It's a whole different
So
issue with
my
me.
my oldest daughter, she was going to her other grandpa's house today, and she dressed herself, and she's 9 years old. She can do that. That's fine. But she has an eccentric style, and so she comes out with like these like kind of jogging sweatpants with boots, and my wife and I are both looking at each other like, I don't know about that. But I stepped in. I said, babe, like, let's let her be her. Let's let her be, let her be her. To an extent.
Hold on to that energy until they
I mean?
get to high school.
But
then I'll let you know what that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like each scenario is different.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt anything for her to wear boots with sweatpants. Like,
Haven't we
that's
always,
fine,
though, pushed the word balance?
Yeah.
Try to be balanced. Now, I'm a little more on the
Temp
rougher
control. I like
side,
that.
but I
Temp
got to come
control.
back to the
Control,
Yeah.
My
softer
daughter's a
side.
woman now, and I'm like, babe, you're not. I'm sorry. I can't let you leave like that.
Your kids are all so sweet, man.
They're
good
amazing kids,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I trust you. You're the best person in the world. I just know boys, babe. You
Yeah.
can't leave.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I think we didn't even get to my questions. I had written down. I had a bunch of things that we were going to discuss, and that's if we got stuck. We didn't get stuck. We really got off topic here. No, I didn't get off topic. We just had a good debate. And we're not always going to agree on this podcast. That's the beauty of it. And I'm more old school. I'm at that stage. And again, I've used this illustration very often. I said in the ministry, there's 3 types of pastors. There's the young ones that don't know any better, and they say things that are pretty tough or wrong or whatever, or silly or whatever. And then there's the middle-aged pastor, and they're careful to dot all their I's and cross their T's. They're real careful. And there's the old guys like me that just don't give a crap. We're going to say what we think, and if we don't like it, we're semi-retired anyway. We'll just go on down the street. And so I think a lot of it has to do with our personality. I'm Italiano, and sometimes I let my guard down. We just came back from Vegas, and once again, I did something, and I guess it wasn't super polite in my wife's eyes. And she said, if we were dating, I would drop you right now. And I said, if we were dating, I wouldn't have done that, okay?
Yeah.
I would have made a good impression on you. But we're not dating. You're stuck with me. What can you do? And I was just joking. Obviously, we had a big laugh out of it. Might be a little bit of truth in it. But I'm the old guy, and I get up and go, I'm just tired of beating around the bush. I want to tell you what the Bible says. But I try to do it in love.
Guess what? In the same way you said you're stuck, guess what? You're stuck with us too. So good luck. And you're really stuck with Josh. So good luck with that.
Well, we've created enough havoc today, so we'll get out of here. And we love you guys, and we'll be back with another crazy topic next week. Anything you guys want to say?
I appreciate the fact that we are part of a community and we can have differing opinions. Opinions are opinions, but the Bible is the Word of God. It's the anchor. It's the thing that I always go back to. And so I hope my opinions continue to change as I get older, because I hope it lines up more with Scripture as I get older. And so
they change, Josh. This is from experience. They change, and just about the time you say, well, I kind of got it right, I'm kind of arriving, then you get old like me and you go back to the I don't give a crap thing, and you start going backwards again. So I need to go back to my opinions when I was about 65 and maybe stick with those.
65.
65. That's a youngster to me today.
As long as you didn't say 67, we're good. So
right.
Anyway, all right, we'll see you guys.
Love you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright. The kind you wanna stay up with all night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole. They won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that don't let you lose your soul.